Have you ever wondered what really happens inside a narcissist's mind when you decide to disappear from their life? Do they feel regret? Do they grieve, feel the loss, or stay awake at night missing you? Or is it all just theater, a power play carefully staged? Picture it like this. In their eyes, you're not just a person with feelings of your own. You're a supply source, the place they draw energy, admiration, and power to feed their bottomless inflated ego. And when you say goodbye, or worse, when you go no contact, no texts, no calls, no responses, for them, it's not just separation, it's rebellion. It's a rejection that shakes their world. At first, they're convinced you'll come back. Why? Because they think they know you. At least, that's what they believe. They're sure your compassion, your guilt, and your craving for closure will eventually push you back into their arms. That's why they stay silent. A calculated silence, like a cat crouched in patience, certain the mouse will return. But then the unexpected happens. You vanish for real. No messages, no mentions on social media, no reaction to the bait they throw your way. And that's when chaos creeps in. What just happened? Why isn't this power game following the script? This is where things get both fascinating and more dangerous than ever. A narcissist stripped of control won't sit still. What's their next move? Will they lure you back with fake sweetness, play the victim to awaken your sympathy, or launch a smear campaign to destroy your image? In today's video, we'll peel back the layers of those hidden thoughts. You'll see why they act the way they do, what they secretly hope for when you go no contact, and most importantly, how you can hold your boundaries, protect your peace, and preserve your self-worth. So, if you've ever walked away from a narcissist, or you're thinking about it now, stay until the end of this video, because you're not just going to discover the truth about them, you'll uncover the inner strength within yourself, the very power they fear the most. When you cut off contact, you may think you're simply stepping out of a toxic relationship, but in the mind of a narcissist, it's nothing less than a direct attack on their power. To them, the relationship was never about two people walking side by side. It was always a game, one holding the leash, the other being led. And when you drop that leash, they can't even begin to comprehend what just happened. In the early days, they're absolutely certain you'll be back. Why? Because they're used to you reacting exactly according to the formula they've written. You're always compassionate, always afraid of hurting others, always craving a clear sense of closure. And those very qualities, your kindness, your empathy, become the weaknesses they cling to. Imagine a chess player who believes their opponent will always move in the same predictable way. They don't have to think too hard because they've already mastered the board. That's exactly how the narcissist sees you. Predictable. Someone who will inevitably turn back if guilt gnaws at your heart. That's why the moment you disappear, they often choose silence. But make no mistake, it's not the silence of loss or regret, it's a calculated silence, a waiting game fueled by arrogance. In their mind, the thought echoes, just wait. Sooner or later, they'll come to me. They won't be able to handle this. It's the smug confidence of a cat lazily sprawled on the floor, certain the mouse would never dare escape. With every passing moment you don't reach out, they believe you're locked in an inner struggle, and that eventually you'll crawl back for comfort. But then time passes, a day, 2 days, a week, and still nothing from you. No messages, no signals. And this is where the tremors begin inside their mind. For the very first time, they're forced to face a possibility they never even considered. You might actually walk away and never come back. And that shakes them to their core, because it doesn't just surprise them, it strikes at their deepest fear, the fear of being forgotten. A narcissist survives on attention, on reactions. Your anger feeds them, your tears sustain them, even your accusations still give them supply. But when you go completely silent, they suddenly become invisible in your world. And for them, That's a threat more terrifying than any goodbye. So remember this in the early phase. If they're silent, don't mistake it for their victory. In truth, your continued silence is the first cut into their proud, inflated armor. They'll never admit it, but inside, confusion has already begun. And this is only the beginning, because once they realize you really might leave for good, they won't sit still. They'll start preparing their next moves: seduction, guilt-tripping, threats, or even smear campaigns. But to truly understand their game, we need to dig deeper into the familiar strategies they always keep up their sleeve. As your silence stretches on, confusion begins to rise in the narcissist's mind. To them, a target should never be allowed to slip out of their control. And that's when the old tricks come back out, like worn playing cards that still hold value in their game of power. First, they'll try to stir up sweet memories. Just like in the intoxicating beginning, you might suddenly receive emotional messages, heartfelt declarations of love, or even a song tied to your shared past, all of it designed to remind you of a time when they seemed perfect, loving, and attentive. But make no mistake, that's not love. It's a carefully calculated strategy aimed at your nostalgia and the fragile places inside you that still long for what once was. More dangerously, this charm often comes laced with obsessive monitoring. Watching your social media, reaching out to mutual friends, or even coincidentally showing up in places you frequent, not to reconcile but to ensure you're still within their reach. If that doesn't work, they shift to a more subtle trap, the closure card. This time, they wear the mask of maturity and reason. You may hear things like, "We need a proper conversation to end things respectfully," or "I owe you an explanation." It sounds fair, even noble, but in reality, closure is just an excuse to re-enter, to wedge open the door you've already locked. In these encounters, they might cry, act remorseful, or promise change, yet it's all a familiar performance, scripted to pierce your compassion. This trap grows even more dangerous in relationships with ties like children or finances, a late-night message about worrying for the kids, an email about needing to discuss money. At first glance, these seem legitimate, but in truth, they're ropes meant to pull you back into the game, and the moment you respond, the power play resumes. These strategies are effective because they strike at deep human needs, the longing for love, for validation, for closure. Seduction tugs at your sweetest memories. Closure appeals to your sense of fairness. And the instant you think, maybe they've changed, maybe I should give them one more chance, you've stepped right back into their cycle. The key to escaping these traps is remembering one truth: everything they do revolves around control. When they're sweet, ask yourself, how many times have they been sweet before hurting me again? When they demand closure, remind yourself, a truly mature person proves it through actions, not staged tears. Every time you hold your silence, you strengthen your boundaries. And those very boundaries are what make the narcissist feel powerless, and, secretly, what they hate most. When sweet seduction and the closure trap no longer work, the narcissist begins to grow restless. Your silence becomes a mirror reflecting their own helplessness, and at this point they turn to other tactics, harsher, more dramatic, anything to break your calm and pull out a reaction. The first act in their play is often the performance of a happier-than-ever life. On social media, they flaunt photos of holding hands with someone new, luxurious trips, glamorous parties, affectionate gestures you once longed for. Everything is staged like a flawless movie designed to make you second-guess yourself. Was it my fault? Did they really change? But behind the polished pictures lies a cold truth. Real happiness doesn't need to be proven. A truly peaceful person doesn't rush to build a stage for display. It's all theater, a desperate attempt to escape the emptiness inside. If that fails to shake you, they'll switch roles and play the poor victim. This is when rumors begin to spread, that they're devastated without you, that they still care, that they respect your decision and only wish you well. It sounds noble, but in reality, it's a dagger wrapped in velvet. By planting the image of an ex suffering in silence, they hope to awaken your compassion, to make you soften and return, and to do this, they rarely reach out directly. Instead, they cleverly use mutual friends, acquaintances, those accidental messengers, to sow seeds of doubt in your mind. When neither the flaunted happiness nor the victim role succeeds, the mask comes off entirely. This is when they unleash their most ruthless weapon: smear campaigns. Whispers begin. Twisted stories about you circulate from one person to another. Suddenly you're painted as the wrongdoer, while they position themselves as the one who endured the pain. Worse still, they rarely act alone. They recruit others, friends, co-workers, even family members, turning them into instruments for their campaign. These people, often out of misplaced loyalty or pity, end up speaking for them, acting for them, and unwittingly becoming loyal puppets in the mission to damage your reputation and strip away your support. The common thread in all these tactics is one single goal: regaining control. If you feel jealousy at their staged happiness, they win. If you feel pity when you hear the rumors, they win. If you feel anger at being smeared, they still win. Because to them, it doesn't matter how you react, only that you react. Any reaction means they still hold power over your life. The only way to break this vicious cycle is to remain silent and steady. That silence is not weakness, it's a strength they cannot reach. And that is the true crack in the mask of power they've tried so desperately to wear. Behind all the performances, the sweet seduction, the promise of closure, the staged photos of fake happiness, the pitiful rumors, and even the smear campaigns, there is always one deeper purpose the narcissist never abandons. They're not seeking love, nor genuine reconciliation. What they truly crave is to see you broken. In their imagination, you're supposed to be drowning in pain after leaving them. They picture you sitting alone in a dark room, tormented by old memories, regretting that you lost the only person who ever loved you. They want to believe you could never be happy without them. To them, your pain, your loneliness, your emptiness, those are the gifts that soothe their ego. And it doesn't stop there. They secretly hope you'll regret your decision. In their perfect script, you might hold out for a while, trying to stay strong. But little by little, they imagine you realizing the emptiness they left behind. You scroll through social media and see them smiling with someone new. You hear whispers that they're still sad, still thinking of you. And then, in their fantasy, you begin to doubt yourself. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I was too hasty. The climax of this fantasy is the moment you come back, not as an equal, but as a defeated soul. They wait for you to apologize, to admit you were wrong to leave. They want to see you kneel, handing back control, so they can declare, in the end, I'm the real winner. No matter what, they can't live without me. But none of this springs from love. It's nothing more than a power game, where their victory is measured by your weakness. Because beneath that inflated ego lies a vast emptiness, a primal fear, the fear of being forgotten, of becoming invisible in the eyes of others. And when you stay silent, you're striking directly at that fear. To mask it, they have to imagine you begging to return, a sedative for the insecurity gnawing inside them. The truth, however, is very different. Every day you remain silent, their fantasy crumbles a little more. Every step you take toward peace and freedom is another crack in the mask of power they've tried so hard to wear. They may grow angry, they may stage more performances, but all of it is just a reflection of their terror of abandonment. And you, in your calm silence, reflect something far stronger. You've begun to reclaim control over your life. When the fantasies they've built in their mind don't come true, when you don't return with teary eyes and pleas for forgiveness, the narcissist refuses to sit still in that emptiness. Your silence forces them to face their greatest fear, the fear of abandonment, of becoming invisible. And to escape the void eating away at them day by day, they rush to find a new supply. This doesn't mean they've found true love. For them, the new person is nothing more than a tool, a fresh fuel tank to recharge their crumbling ego. In the narcissist's eyes, this person is not a full human being with feelings and intrinsic worth. They're just another source to feed off, another piece in the endless power game. Often, the narcissist flaunts this loudly and proudly. You might see photos of trips, gifts, or sweet declarations to the new partner, all carefully staged to send you an unspoken message. I don't need you. I've already found someone better. But behind that glittering mask lies a cold truth. Those gestures of affection don't come from love. They're nothing more than recycled scripts, the same tricks they once used on you, and soon the same cycle will begin again. Idealization, devaluation, and eventual discard, only this time with a different face. What makes this tactic even crueler is that they know you'll see it. Whether by accident or by design, those images and words are meant to pierce your heart, to make you question, so I wasn't enough? Did they really change for someone else? In those moments of self-doubt, they hope to reclaim the power they lost over you. But the truth is undeniable. Their quick replacement doesn't prove you were inadequate. It only proves they cannot survive alone. Narcissists don't seek lasting connection. They only search for new mirrors to reflect their ego. And every mirror eventually cracks under the weight of their manipulation. What you must remember is this: the space they leave behind in your life is not proof of lack, it's an opportunity. A chance for you to step forward, rediscover peace, and build real relationships grounded in respect and love. By choosing silence, you've left them to spin in their endless cycle with a new victim. And you've stepped off that stage, walking back into the light of your own life. Even after finding a new supply to patch their emptiness, the narcissist doesn't stop. Because all those performances, from seduction to closure to flaunting happiness to replacing you, serve only one ultimate goal: to make you regret ever leaving them. In their imagination, you're watching their every move, staring at the glittering life they carefully display, and one day sighing to yourself, if only I hadn't left. If only I had tried one more time. That's the script they crave: your self-blame, your regret, and eventually your willingness to open the door and let them back in. But here's the cruel twist: the regret they want from you isn't for love, nor for reconciliation. It's only proof of their power. They want you to believe you were wrong, that leaving was a rash decision, that only by coming back will you recover your worth. In their game, love never exists, only power and manipulation. The irony is, there may be moments when you feel shaken, because being human means there are times of weakness, when memories rush back, when old words or happy images suddenly resurface in your mind. But remember this: that feeling isn't proof that you should go back. It's simply the natural echo of a soul that has been manipulated for too long. That emptiness you feel isn't the absence of love, it's the process of learning how to live free. What the narcissist will never admit is this: your silence and consistency are the clearest proof that you've grown beyond them. While they scramble to find someone new, stage fake happiness, and spread rumors to keep up their illusion of power, you are rebuilding your real life. And that is what leaves them the most confused, angry, and afraid. So whenever a wave of regret washes over you, remind yourself, regret is not a sign to go back. It's an invitation to move forward, to go further, and to live a life no longer bound by manipulation. The peace you hold today, even if it feels lonely, even if it's not yet perfect, is already proof that you are on the right path. And that is the one truth a narcissist never wants you to realize. In the end, everything the narcissist does, whether it's seduction, closure, staging fake happiness, playing the pitiful victim, spreading smears, finding replacements, or planting seeds of regret, has always been about one thing: regaining control. But the truth they cannot bear is this: the moment you stay silent, all that power begins to collapse. No contact is not a game. It's not a tactic to get revenge, nor a strategy to lure them back for an apology. It's a declaration that you have recognized your own worth, that you deserve peace, that you have the right to live a life free from manipulation. In the narcissist's eyes, silence equals defeat. Because when you don't react, don't argue, don't respond to any of their tactics, they suddenly become invisible in your world, and that is their deepest fear, to be forgotten. But in your eyes, silence is victory. With every day you remain firm in your boundaries, you reclaim pieces of power, pieces of peace that they once stole from you. Yes, there will be moments of loneliness, memories may flood back and make you waver, but remember, those moments aren't signs of weakness. They are proof that you are in transition. Freedom often arrives with emptiness, but it's the kind of emptiness you need, one that makes room for what is real and healthy. No contact is also your chance to finally hear your own voice, the voice that was once buried under false promises and endless performances. Now, in the quiet, you touch your true self, your inner belief that you don't need anyone else to define your worth. And as you continue walking this path, you'll come to realize something vital. The real victory isn't making the narcissist beg you to return. The real victory is when you look back at the past, smile softly, and think to yourself, "I made it out. I found a freedom no one can ever take away."